I'm joined here today with Michelle Hamilton, a psychologist here in Lloydminster. Michelle, thank you for taking the time and joining me today.
You're welcome, Eric. Thank you for asking me.
No problem. And now, obviously, some extreme times right here, some uncertainty, a lot of people in isolation. So tell me a little bit about what people are feeling right now that you are seeing out there.
I think all around the world we're experiencing a lot of similar struggles here with the fact of a real increase in stress and anxiety because there is so much uncertainty. And so, isolation, uncertainty, fear, and loss, those are pretty realistic factors that I think all humans are currently facing. And those are pretty major stressors, no doubt about it.
And obviously, very natural to be feeling right now. But what can people be doing here to kind of lessen that stress, some strategies maybe to cope with that in times like these?
Well, first off, I want to really encourage. There's a couple of points I want to share with you here. Um, at a time like this, I do believe that it's really important to limit and monitor, kind of what we expose ourselves to in terms of particularly information, media, news, and social media, especially the focus being on the pandemic and all of the implications of it. So I really do think that limiting exposure is one important piece. Another really important piece that I think is worth expanding on is the importance of quite purposefully creating new schedules and new routines. There's some really important basic human needs that we all have and that we want to really focus on at a time like this in terms of, first of all, taking care of our most basic human needs, the physiological needs. Those are things like the need for food, water, sleep, shelter, right? Hopefully, most of us can focus on being grateful that we have enough of all of those things. We can drink plenty of water, we can create and cook up some healthy meals for ourselves at home. Maybe people are rediscovering the benefits of home cooking and not relying so much on takeout and restaurants. Pull out some old cookbooks and, for those of you like me who still have like home cookbooks and things like that. I think baking is another thing for myself. I maybe get a little carried away because I do find comfort in that kind of stuff. Sleep and routines around sleep are obviously really important. Sleep may be disrupted when people are affected by stress. And in particular, the need for movement, obviously exercise, to take a break from sitting or working or finding a way to pace yourself so that if you are working from home and sitting in front of a computer, that in between sessions or meetings, that you are able to get up, walk around, stretch, maybe access some YouTube videos about exercise, maybe dance around the kitchen a bit, do some yoga. Those are all some really important basic things.
So what you're saying is to right now look on the bright side of things, maybe take that opportunity to rediscover that love of cooking or to try something new right now?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I do think I want to kind of sum up some suggestions that I have for folks with something I just kind of summarized. Simply the idea of the 4 big C's for coping with the pandemic. Okay, this is just a little thought on that I came up with here. First, comfort zone. You know what? This is the great time to focus on creating and enjoying the comforts of home. So if there's anything that you particularly can focus on that feels comforting, whether it means staying in your pajamas with your slippers on and or cuddling up with your pet. In fact, here's my little dog. I don't usually get to work with him on my lap. And the other C is connect. This is a perfectly good time to really reconnect, whether that is by video conferencing, which is great, FaceTime, Skype, or Zoom meetings, but also to make some phone calls, like call some old friends, connect with older relatives that might be quite isolated. So I want to really encourage people to really think about creating time every day to quite purposefully connect. The other thing is creativity. I think that if there's an opportunity for you to rediscover again something that you might have enjoyed in the past but haven't picked up in a long time. This would be a great time to pull out some, artistic or other, creative endeavors, whether that be puzzle making, drawing, knitting, or, hobbies of such nature. And then finally, consistency. As I said, the idea of creating new routines, like learning how to adapt in light of a crisis and in light of such significant change, to be flexible, because those of us that are resilient human beings, which I hope many of you are, right? We do need to really be conscious about how we have to quite purposefully develop adaptability and flexibility in accommodating all the changes that are happening here.
And now, just really quick, I do want to touch on that connect that you mentioned. It's something that leaders all over the world have been stressing too at the moment. But just how big a difference does it make that, maybe 5 minutes just picking up the phone? How big a difference does that make for people?
Well, I think most people would agree that when you do spend time, whether it's by phone or by video conference, I think the facial connection that we get when we see each other's faces is especially beneficial if there's the option. I think it creates a very important sort of sense of re-energizing, and kind of lightening the energy that we feel, because it feels awfully heavy when we focus on all the bad news and all the fear and all the uncertainty. So we got to find ways to connect with people and experiences that lighten us up and help us feel uplifted.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time with me today, Michelle, and sharing all these topics with me. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks, and take good care of yourself. And let me know if I can do this again sometime.
Will do for sure.
Right on.